I suppose my first close association with the Murray River was when we lived at Swan Hill, which is 170 road miles down from here. And I spent quite a considerable amount of my early youth on the Murray River there, chasing crayfish and catching fish and one thing and another. The Murray River crayfishes, a lot of people have never seen a Murray River crayfish. My goodness, these things grow up to almost a kilo and a 3 pound weight, 1.5 kilos to even 2 kilos. A meal for 2 people in one crayfish. They're larger ones, they're not always as big as that. This river right through was literally teeming with them in days gone by. I remember in 3 nets, those nets today would be very illegal. I suppose they were legal in those days, but nobody seemed to worry about them. They were the good old-fashioned drum net. And in 6 weeks, I took out 650 crayfish out of one pool alone.
Jack Byham grew up on the banks of the Murray River. Jack is truly a Murray River man. His remarkable career took him around the world and saw him meet some of the biggest names in Hollywood, all of whom have been fascinated by his Aboriginal skills. Yes, home for Jack is still a shady bend on Australia's greatest river. The Murray River meanders approximately 2,500 kilometres from the icy streams that trickle down the slopes of the Great Dividing Range to the vast waters of Lake Alexandrina on the South Australian coast. The Murray is an Australian icon, the Mother River, because no matter where life leads them, people always return to the welcoming banks of this flourishing, mainly peaceful flow of water. For generations, Australians, just like Jack Byham, have been held captive by the magic and mystery of the Murray. They come for sunshine, they come to unwind, and to wash away the stress and strain of city life. There's boating, skiing, and for the anglers, Australian-wide, the irresistible lure of the greatest prize in freshwater fishing.
We regard it here as the top fish in Australia. A lot of people would prefer a barramundi, but I've eaten both and I think the barramundi is very inferior to the Murray cod. Then we have the yellow belly, which is also, they've grown up to 15, 20 pound weight, 12 pound, 5, 6 kilo, the biggest I've ever seen of them, but also a magnificent fish to eat. Then we have the Macquarie perch. They're all virtually a thing of the past. They were very plentiful here years ago, white-eye we call them, and I've caught many in this parts of the river along here.
Jack and his faithful fishing companion Les Fitzgerald, an old sea salt, spend their time fishing and relaxing beside the river. Jack probably knows more about what lurks beneath the ripples better than anyone. Like most expert fishermen, Jack is a little reticent about revealing his best spots, but today we'll see through Jack's eyes something of the majesty of this great river. For fishermen, this is what it's really all about. After a game fight, another noble Murray cod is landed. Definitely not the biggest fish Jack has caught in the Murray, but a tasty specimen just the same. In the hidden holes of the Murray, some very large trophies have been landed, as this home video shows. The Murray cod is the largest freshwater fish in Australia, and one of the biggest in the world. The largest cod ever recorded tipped the scales at a massive 113.5 kilograms. Unfortunately, the Murray cod population in the river is declining. Though not considered to be on the endangered list, this large trophy was first caught on a line, then tethered until the camera was available to visually record its final capture. Just as important as finding the right fishing location is the right bait, and the best bait, Bardy grubs. Here we have the ideal
Bardi grub team, father and son, coaxing them from the ground using the corkscrew device. The Murray catchment area covers approximately 1/7 of the Australian continent, collecting from 4 main states of Australia. Originating in the alpine areas of New South Wales and Victoria, water flows from the beautiful blue expanse of the Dartmouth Dam down the Mittamitta into the Hume. In the Kosciuszko National Park, the slopes of the Pilot are considered to be the original source of the Murray itself. The Snowy Mountains hydroelectric scheme remains one of Australia's greatest engineering accomplishments. Right from the very outset of this vast river system, the water is harnessed to secure power for industries and cities. The alpine catchment area is crisscrossed with a network of creeks and tributaries, eventually all combining to form the one great waterway. The giant Hume Weir is the controlling influence of the Murray. Something like 3,000 million cubic metres of water is held back by the 51-metre high dam wall. The Murray River, or maybe the Mother River, suckles the 3 adjoining states with the fluid of life via its vast network of irrigation channels. This generous river supports and nurtures million-dollar industries throughout its length. Fresh grapes are harvested and packaged for local and export consumption. Apples and pears are also grown along these fertile banks. In other areas, peaches and nectarines are the main crops. Orchardists use modern, labour-efficient harvesting techniques. Tomatoes are also grown on a large scale for the fresh market and canning. Other crops include oilseed and rice. In recent years, rice has developed into a major export.
Citrus crops cover thousands of hectares. Your morning orange drink probably came from the Murray irrigation region.
Most of this country was developed around the famous merino sheep. Now, with irrigation, 50% of Australia's fat lambs, wool, and 25% of the nation's dairy production comes from the Murray-Darling irrigation system. The Murray is also home to some of Australia's most successful thoroughbreds. Better Loosen Up, winner of the Japan Cup, was sired on the Riverside property.
Well, it's a lovely setting. It's right on the Murray, and plus rainfall's good, and overall it's a very nice setting.
Ever wondered where redhead matches used to come from? Bryant and May's popular plantation and mill was situated alongside the Murray River. Unfortunately, it no longer exists. In recent years, alternative farming ventures have been undertaken along the fertile Murray Plains. Emu farming is one of the more exotic enterprises on the Murray. Emus are prized for their meat, leather, and oil for cosmetics.
All in all, there are something like 45,000 farms between here and Goolwa in South Australia, which get their water from the Murray River. I suppose some of those farms have closed down in recent years, they've gone broke, but you could say over 40,000 farms. Further down the river, of course, there are locks which have been built just to raise the level of the water for the purpose of diverting it out over the lands.
The extensive system of weirs and locks on the Murray River were designed to provide stable pools for irrigation and enable navigation of the river throughout the year. Locks and weirs were built at most of the major towns along the Murray. This is the Yarrawonga Weir. The Mildura Weir was completed in 1927. It is the 11th weir and one of the largest, situated 878 kilometres from the mouth of the Murray. The difference in water level upstream and downstream of the weir is normally maintained at 3.7 metres.
Looking at the river now, so quiet and nice and peaceful and relaxing. But what a different story when those mountain snows melt and we get a big heavy rains on top of that and she comes charging down. What a surging current. You can see the height of the water up above the banks. All this country we're looking at, all underwater, 6 feet or 2 metres deep. And the great surging, charging torrent that come down that river, it's unbelievable.
When the floodwaters rise, animals seeking higher ground can become marooned on small islands. Their only choice is a mad scramble for safety. Flooding is also a concern for farmers along the river.
I'm Mick Dunn, Barooga. I lease the Barooga State Forest. I'm a little bit concerned about the floodwaters. There's a few high patches left in there, but it won't be long before it'll be all over. 2 cows and 2 calves in there they can't get out. They're on a high bank. It'll have to come another couple of feet before they'll be in any danger.
The river in flood is a fact of life for those who live and work on the banks of the Murray. With the support of the SES and other volunteers, homes and properties are spared from flood damage. During a flood, these normally placid waters can flow with surprising force and levels rise rapidly. Sandbags are often the only barrier between the turbulent water and many homes. A houseboat would normally clear the Cobram Bridge with metres to spare, but in flood conditions, this boat's roof is sheared off in less than a minute. Council workers gently assist the boat out from under the bridge. This boat has since been restored and is once again used for permanent accommodation. Large levee banks are a permanent feature of most riverside towns. The remarkable Barmah Forest contains the largest stand of river red gums anywhere in the world. The red gum's natural growth cycle requires its roots to be flooded with water at least once every 4 years. Between July and November each year, more than 200 different species of water birds visit the Barmah wetlands. This water hen has judged the flood level exactly, building a nest just clear of the high water mark. Pelicans, herons, spoonbills, cormorants, and the superb white ibis gather in their thousands during the nesting season.
Deep in the forest, another gathering is taking place. The Barmah Muster, an annual event straight from the pages of Banjo Patterson. An adjustment permit from the Department of Conservation and Natural Resources allows farmers to graze cattle within the 30,000-hectare Barmah forest.
Once a year, the cattle are mustered. Initially, the cattlemen herd the beasts into a 3,000-hectare holding area known as Goose Swamp before the final day of drafting. The muster attracts riders from far and wide, including many amateurs. The cook's day starts early, preparing a hearty breakfast for enthusiastic workers. The men can barely contain their excitement as they leap out of their bunks, eager to start a day's work, with a quick splash and scrub to wash off the effects of the night before. This eager, intrepid rider gracefully mounts his sturdy steed and heads for the roundup. Each year, the cattle are removed from the forest for a closed period. The cattle are sorted into individual pens according to their markings. A government inspector is on hand to sort out any disputes. Some of the cattle will be returned to the forest until next year. Others will be transported back to their owner's property for fattening and later sale. Meanwhile, Jack and his brother Bob start their day on the backwaters in search of breakfast, the elusive Murray yabbies. Early morning on the Murray is a truly unforgettable experience. The sounds of nature are everywhere. This is the best time of day. Further down the river, the sounds of the circular saw can be heard. One of the most lucrative of the Murray River industries, timber harvesting. Over the years, Jack has had a close association with the timber industry.
You see, an industry that's been going here for 100 years is the timber industry. People don't realise how much of the great old red gum we call eucalyptus that's been cut out along either bank of this river. It's a marvellous wood. It's white ant proof. It can stop in the water for 100 years and it won't deteriorate. It's a magnificent wood. It was used very, very extensively in the early days for the foundations of houses. Nowadays they pour concrete, but in the early days every house had a red gum stumps and bearings to stop the white ants. They were capped naturally, of course, with a bit of steel. And all the cattle yards and the bridge construction. 1,001 different uses for this red gum. I'll give full marks to the people in control of these forests for the last 30 or 40 years. Old Spotty Howes that was here, 40, 50 years ago in charge of the forest officer, the ranger. And my goodness, they were very, very selective of what they were prepared to cut and what they were prepared to let go.
There would be few railway lines anywhere in Australia that haven't been laid on red gum railway sleepers. Pioneers laboured with axes and heavy cross-cut saws to cut the rock-hard timber. Aboriginals used stone axes to strip the bark from the red gums to make their river canoes. The red gum is certainly a versatile tree. Today, unusable offcuts from the logging are not wasted. Instead, they are being converted to charcoal. Manager of this unusual occupation is Murray River woman Norma Berry.
No, I don't know why I took it on, but I know it is a man's job. But I love being out in the bush. I love being out, you know, along the river with the wood and the birds and everything. But the use of it is mainly for the household barbecue. There's still some blacksmiths and farriers, they still use it in their forges. It is used in filters, you know, like it's broken down to be in filters. There is a lot of uses for it, but I just can't think of them offhand.
Ironically, many of the Aboriginal traditions live on through Jack Byham, a white man but highly respected amongst Aboriginals. He is an honorary member of the Wongai tribe in Western Australia.
Jack has one of the best collections of Aboriginal artefacts in Australia and is considered an authority on Aboriginal culture. He is a former world boomerang throwing and traditional spear throwing champion.
What I would like to show you now are the two different types of boomerangs. There are other types also, but basically the returning boomerang, which is thrown away and comes back, and the hunting boomerang, killer boomerang, throwing stick, carly, whatever you like to call it. And this boomerang is used in warfare, it's used in hunting, it goes straight ahead, it can be made to come back slightly if there's a bit of breeze blowing, but normally it's thrown over a distance of 20 or 30 metres with great accuracy. You can't throw them over 100 metres. This boomerang I'm holding will fly well over 100 metres. Give this boomerang now a little throw. I'll send it down 50 or 60 metres and give you an idea what it actually does. You'll see a slight turning to the left as it goes on down, right? You see, the Aborigine has the ability to throw a spear possibly twice as far as most people. He makes use of the woomera, whereas the Aborigines that I spent a lot of time, they call it a mero. It's simply a piece of wood with a good grip on the end of it. a little notch here up the front, and that engages in the tail end of the spear in such a fashion. Comes along there, and you see immediately it doubles the length of the arm and it doubles the range of the spear. Anyhow, before actually letting go, the native normally vibrates the spear. He gets a vibration in the spear just slightly that keeps the spear tracking straight. Otherwise, if you just throw normally like that, it could be after a while the spear starts veering side on. So they vibrate the spear before they let go, and that keeps the spear tracking. I'll give a little throw and give you an idea of what happens.
Nearby at Mulwala lies one of the rarest Aboriginal sites in the Murray region, the Boat Rock, a series of man-made reservoirs designed to ensure a ready supply of water during the dry period. The Aborigines built blazing fires on the rocks. After cooling, the surface was brittle enough to dig into. The process was repeated until the holes were deep enough to hold a permanent water supply.
Cameragunja Station is a sizable Aboriginal settlement on the Murray. It is self-supporting with its own churches and schools. Graduates from Cameragunja have won fame in many walks of life. The former Governor of South Australia, the late Pastor Doug Nicholls, came from Cameragunja, as does Hilton Walsh. Although Hilton is now retired, he still finds time to lecture on Aboriginal cultures. Today, he passes his time practicing the traditional Aboriginal art of emu egg carving.
Apparently, Maloga started off as a settlement and that transferred down to Cameragunja, is that correct?
Yes, they built Cameragunja and started, well, importing Aboriginals from different land areas, you know, tribal situations to Cameragunja Aboriginal Reserve. Then it was, Cameragunja was self-supporting. They had their own sheep and cattle.
Wheat?
Yes, and some of them were fantastic shearers, and well, the boats used to pull up there and take the wool and wheat to Echuca where it was milled, and some of that flour then was sent to Aboriginal reserves in New South Wales.
Jack and Hilton's friendship goes back longer than either would probably care to remember. They probably will reminisce and swap stories all afternoon. At Swan Hill, Captain Paddy Hogg spent his career on the water. Paddy skippered some of the more memorable steamers up and down the Murray.
You operated on the rivers, we had low water, we had floods, and we had times. It was all a matter of know-how and when to run your boats and that to keep into the deep water, to undertake a job on the river where you didn't go where you couldn't get back. You always made sure that you'll have enough water to go, say, from Echuca to Wentworth with a load of stuff, and you'd have enough water there to come back home again. It's a matter of now, it's a matter of knowing the river, knowing what water was coming and how fast that river would fall. We were the main communications from, well, from where the civilization was, that's the main towns, and from where we were on the river. These people on those outback areas of the Darling and the Murrumbidgee, we would be the fastest means of communication they had as regards transport goes.
The pinnacle of his career was to take the helm of the Gem, which is now anchored in the Swan Hill Pioneer Settlement. These days, Paddy is on dry land, but only until he completes the restoration of his boat. For those who prefer craft with a little more horsepower, the Southern 80 is renowned worldwide as one of the premier ski races, high-speed ski racing that attracts large crowds. Tourism is big business on the Murray. The river is a draw card for people from all walks of life. The annual festival is a gathering of friends of the earth. They celebrate the tranquillity of the river and the surrounding bushland. These people practice the alternative lifestyle.
Very difficult to ascertain just how many people do come to the Murray River region, but we've been able to ascertain that somewhere between 2 to 2.5 million people visit on a regular basis the Murray River from one end to the other, and that's just looking from Cancoban, Walbridge, right through to Mildura or Wentworth. People come here for a variety of reasons. I think it's peace of mind, it's being able to enjoy the river. It's something special that most Australians now realise is part of their heritage and hopefully part of their future. They come here to enjoy life, they come in here to enjoy the facilities that have been created, such as golf clubs. We have golf clubs, of course, and bowling greens here that are amongst the best in the world. People come here to relax, they come here to find themselves, they come here to share this very special part of Australia that has now become a very important part for them, and I'm sure for their children. They're looking at passive recreation as something that they can enjoy, share with their families, and remember and take away. They're not necessarily used to using the Murray River for anything special, but just to join with it and be part of it.
I've been fortunate enough to be involved with the Red Cross Murray Marathon for many years now. I think the first time you compete in the Red Cross Murray Marathon, the longest and most arduous canoe race in the world, incidentally, is to achieve it, to climb the mountain, to be part of it. I know I did that in 1978. People do it to achieve it, to get to know people, to be part of the atmosphere, to be part of the Murray River. And it really is an exciting part of your life. When you come around the corner into Swan Hill, 404 kilometres along the river, and there's 2,000 or 3,000 people cheering you on, you feel like you've won a gold medal. Even if you've come 45th in your class, you have made it, you have achieved. You've been part of the Murray River, part of raising a lot of money for the Red Cross, and part of the fun of it all.
What sort of strategy did you use over the whole 5 days?
The best of the strategy is get in the boat, put a top rate and stick to it, and just keep going. Go till you can't go anymore.
Various triathlons are held along the Murray. Crowds of competitors, keen to experience the pains of achievement, await the starter's command. On a warm day, people just can't resist the lure of a refreshing dip in the Murray. Like a school of thrashing salmon, competitors make their way down the river. This event saw 300 competitors churning their way to the end of the first stage.
High above the river, an assortment of craft take advantage of the mild climate and favourable thermal conditions. From the air, the sand beaches of the Murray are clearly visible. Following the success of recent competitions, Mildura is set to become the ballooning capital of Australia. These gracious giants of the air make a colourful sight. Ballooning competitions are one of the many activities during the Mildura Siesta Festival. Meanwhile, in the sky above Tocumwal, champion glider pilots revel in the thermal currents that rise from the warm, flat river plains below. People such as world gliding champion Inga Renner rate the conditions at Tocumwal among the best anywhere in the world. Jack has noticed many changes on the Murray over the years, not all of them pleasing. Soil erosion and the build-up of sand on the river floor is damaging the river's ecology.
Now, years ago, the bed of this river was mostly mud, clay, sandbanks on either side, but if you come down the river now for 20 miles, I would almost defy you to find a spot on the bed of the river where there's any mud left. Well, now, at the moment we're situated in an area here of a chain or two, which is one of the old mud mussel beds, and there are very few of them left here on the river because the sand has taken over. You can see nothing but sand. The only place you'll get mussels now in this section of the river for 10 or 15 miles are in these little backwaters where there's still a little bit of mud. It's almost sand. It's not pure mud by any means like the old mud mussel loves. I think that in a few short years the mussels in this area will be completely gone because there will be no mud left for them to feed. And so, going back hundreds of years ago, of course, the Aborigines used these for food. They're a tremendous source of food for the Aborigine, and further down the river near Barmah, that you still find the old banks where they cook these up by the thousand. I'll show you what's inside them. Quite a big fleshy bit of food, which we used always for cod bait in days gone by. They were the great old cod bait. I've never actually opened a cod and found a mussel inside it, but to put that on a hook is a delightful specimen. I've tried eating these, but they're most unpalatable. Les, would you like to have a go at one?
Right in, one.
Good old seaman, you should be accustomed to it.
This tasty snack was just an appetizer for Les, who craved more palatable gourmet delights. But before lunch, let's have a look at another endangered species. The trout cod, which must be released unhurt after capture. Trout cod numbers are so low, their survival depends on fishermen observing these rules. As Jack and Les move up the river, there are more reminders of the continuing problems of eroding riverbanks. Another major problem, not as obvious, the vermin European carp. For these, Jack demonstrates his prowess with a spear. European carp, an introduced pest blamed for much of the decline in the native fish species. The carp muddies the water and strips the ribbonweed from the river floor, eliminating the cover and food for smaller fish. It's illegal to return the carp once caught. They're not considered good eating. In a secluded backwater, Jack and Les are eagerly anticipating an underwater harvest. A net full of crays, females spawning. Each female cray carries hundreds of eggs, so they're promptly returned to the river.
Crays come out every month without an R in it. May, June, July, August, they're the 4 months we gather the crayfish.
At last, Les is in luck. Another net reveals a pair of excellent Murray River crays, both good size. I'll wager they taste better than the freshwater mussels. Definitely something to crow about.
One thing to catch them and cook them, which require normally about 5 good minutes in good strong boiling water, and then the preparation of the crayfish is something which is mostly different altogether from a sea crayfish. You tear the back away from the crayfish, in such a fashion, and you separate the top from the base. Now we take off the tail. Tail constitutes quite a lot of excellent meat. We've got the crayfish then with the body and the two great legs. We tear those off. All of this has excellent food. You cut down on each side of the inside of the tail in such a fashion. Cut in close to the edge with a good, sharp, strong knife, and you pull the inside of the tail away in such a fashion. This exposes the meat. Now you dig that out, simple operation, and you have a great big chunk of edible flesh.
The Murray really is a magical destination, a place of extraordinary contrasts. The immense bird rookeries in the wetlands remain serene and unspoiled. Many species use the region to stop over on their transoceanic migrations. Pelicans in these numbers are a rare sight.
Lake Mulwala in the early morning, and barely a ripple disturbs the surface. But later in the day, spectators are treated to water ski review, combining acrobatics, skills and ballet. This excitement and colour is just another part of the Murray River experience.
Most major towns along the river feature annual festivals, a chance for people of all shapes and sizes to let their hair down. This is the Peaches and Cream Festival at Cobham.
In Swan Hill, cultural boundaries become blurred as the riverina population celebrates its diverse heritage with the Kiwi Young Aboriginal Festival.
At Echuca, enthusiasts pay homage to the machinery that helped develop the pioneer townships more than 100 years ago. For 2 days, a priceless assembly of meticulously restored steam-powered vehicles are put through their paces. On the river, a floating history lesson. The cargo and passenger craft from a century of river travel. The old homesteads along the Murray stand as a monument to a prosperous era, when Australian wool was worth its weight in gold. Barmah Homestead was built for Elizabeth Hume, sister-in-law of the explorer Hamilton Hume. With horse and plough, pioneers first developed the fertile river country more than 150 years ago. 1 kilometre from the river, Canoe Homestead was built entirely from red gum slabs, felled and sawn on the property. Classified as a highly significant building by the National Trust, the house is unusually large for a slab construction. Speaking of unusual, this social outhouse has not 1, not 2, but 3 toilet seats. Rumour has it, the lamb curries were pretty powerful stuff at Canoe Station. Back on the water, one of the final chapters in the evolution of river transport is being played out. Cable-drawn barges were once the principal means of ferrying travellers across the Murray. Today, they're all but museum pieces, replaced by the bridges that link the states of New South Wales and Victoria wherever a township exists. The Murray's bridges are an essay in engineering development, from rude timber pylon bridges to the complex iron superstructures built at the dawn of the new Commonwealth of Australia. Of course, cooperation between the two states could never be taken for granted. Legend has it, the bend in the bridge at Yarrawonga is the result of a slight disagreement in calculations between the New South Wales and the Victorian engineers. One of the most relaxing ways to view the bridges, or any of the Murray's other attractions for that matter, is the houseboat. Equipped with two-way radios and every facility imaginable, the houseboats offer a holiday experience that is hard to match. Winter temperatures average in the high teens, and fine, cloudless days are the norm. In the holiday season, the banks on both sides are packed with campers and caravans, all happy to share the water and the weather. But for those who crave solitude, the Murray doesn't disappoint. A private beach for sunbathing, a secret fishing spot, or a picture-perfect romantic hideaway. It's been a long day on the Murray, but the river has seen it all before.
Now, it's, you know, it's something magic, that Barmah forest. It is.
The noise of the gum leaf, haven't you?
That's an old sound around here, Cumragunja gum leaf man. You've still got the touch, Jack.
Wait a minute. This gum leaf is not very good.
Oh, you've been carrying it around in your pocket too long.
People who visit the Murray may travel into the other side of the world or spend half their lives in crowded cities. But sooner or later, the spirit awakens and the temptation becomes too great. They always return to the mighty Murray River.